Hey Chris, thanks for watching. It is 9:30. I'm pretty good on time today. I really try to be on time. It's one of my things. But getting it all set up, sometimes it takes a little bit of maneuvering. So today, Friday, November 13th. What's your favorite Friday the 13th movie? I'm not sure I have one. Friday the 13th Part 2, I think. Have to go back and watch it. But we're moving past that. So today, I want to continue on with the celebration of gratitude as the theme for November. I'm grateful for this morning because I'm grateful for November because the sun is up early, and I'm grateful because the Canadian geese are back in the park and they're flying around, and that's beautiful, and it's a great way to kind of experience fall, even though the sun is up less, but it's up early now, so that feels good. So last week I talked about how being grateful can increase and improve our happiness, and how it can make us better leaders. And I talked about, we incorporated some Stoic philosophy, and we incorporated Stoic philosophy and said what we were grateful for, and remembered what would it be like if we didn't have it, as a different way to think about gratefulness. It's like, so what is it that you're grateful for, and what would it be like if you didn't have it? I'm grateful that the sun's coming up earlier. And what would it be like if it didn't have it? Well, I'd still be working out in the park, but I'd be working out in the dark in the park all the time and not getting the beautiful sunrises that I get. So that's just one of those things. I did get what I thought was interesting is I got some positive feedback, and a couple people mentioned to me that they were going to actually incorporate that Stoic idea into part of their gratefulness practice. And I think that's fascinating. And because of that, I'm going to use another Stoic technique today when I talk about something and get a little bit political. I hope that's okay. So what I want to talk about this week is I'm grateful. I am grateful that I and that you and that people, we have an ability to learn and an ability to grow. It's really, it's a mindset, and I know the term mindset is so overworked these days, but there's two pieces of it that I like to talk about here. Is that it's a growth mindset, which means that you are open to growing, but there's also a curious mindset, a mindset of curiosity, which means you are actively participating, encouraging, investigating, challenging ideas and concepts, and that is a really way to bolster the openness mindset and that with curiosity. So I was talking with a team member about a project she was working on, and a couple calls she had to make specifically. And we talked about what was the desired outcome. But the goal was to really get clear about the outcome before she got on the call. And it was interesting because apologize for the sirens. It was interesting because the outcomes where they started were very outwardly focused. It was, I want to close the sale. Well, so that's good, right? We all got to close sales. We all got to close the deals. But that is really more of a goal. I said, so what that is something that you don't really have control over. You can do everything right, and you don't necessarily close the deal. So what else could the outcome be? And then we talked about it, and the outcome was, well, I can leave them feeling a certain way. I can make them realize that I can help them. And still, those two things were very outwardly focused. So what we tried to do is we tried to turn back and say, what would it be what is the outcome for you in this process? And the outcome for her in this process was, one, to maintain a strong frame, to maintain integrity, be who she is and wants to be, and not let parts of the call derail her, to handle obstacles. Obstacles, we're going to go with this word here in a second. To handle obstacles, but not let them derail you in how you want to frame, present, control, lead, all those things. So, and I know what happened on a couple of these things, and those ideas really ended up being helpful because the calls did not necessarily go the way she would have expected, and certainly did not necessarily, at least not yet, not as of last night, end up with the outcome of a sale. So I recently, or it's been a while, I read this book, Ryan Holiday, The Obstacle is the Way. And I recommend you read it. It's pretty short, not very complicated. He's very interesting. Read up on him a little bit. I'm kind of conflicted. In some ways, early in his career, he was the boy genius, the evil boy genius. And now he feels much more grounded in what he writes. I don't know him personally, so I can't say. I don't want to say that. But what I read of his story, he has evolved and grown and provides some really good insight. So I was working on something, and one of my teammates said to me that, Ted, what you're doing is you are just coming up with workarounds. And I looked at him and said, I wasn't to really understand. I said, what you're really doing is you are coming up with workarounds. You are trying to avoid this obstacle in this process by creating these workarounds. And if you create enough workarounds, the workarounds are the process, and that wasn't the goal. So what I had to do was I had to identify and say, hey, Ryan Holiday, the obstacle is the way. This is where I need to go. I need to go through this obstacle and not around it. Use a little Stoic philosophy to kind of frame it as that, one is I know it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be a challenge. Two, I need to put my ego aside, because ego and the knowing how difficult this was going to be was keeping me going around it. So I was now going to have to put my ego aside because it's going to be a challenge. But through this challenge, I was going to learn new skills, persevere, take those concepts and bring them to bear. My saboteur, if you know positive intelligence, my saboteur is the avoider. And the avoider was very creative, and he always is, about creating these workarounds and how I can do something. But at some point in time, we had to get a little bit more curious about it, use a little Stoic philosophy, and am attacking it head on. And I've just started doing this, and I know it's going to take me, this is something I need to be doing regularly, and it's going to take me a little while to get used to it, get used to being uncomfortable. The first 20 times are hard, but after that it's going to be easy, much easier, and more rewarding. And I will be working less from ego by avoiding it and not using resistance as a tool or tolerating the resistance. So I just want to wrap it up here a little bit, but there's something a little political I wanted to say. And I was having a discussion with a friend, somebody who I really respect, and the topic of mask mandates came up. And this person was very anti-mask mandate, saying that they were taking her sovereignty. Now, so I said that I disagreed. I think we should take the conversation a different way, because that wasn't the goal of the conversation. So we kind of tabled it, took the conversation a different way. But it set with me after a while. And what I came to realize was that sovereignty is about ego and resistance. There is no sovereignty in not wearing a mask. When you get in your car, you buckle your seatbelt. You drive on the right side of the road. You expect other cars to have insurance. We do all kinds of things to make a functioning society work. So as a Stoic would say, wear your mask. It'll feel uncomfortable. It will feel weird. It will make it harder to talk. But all those things are good and reinforce the reason why we really do it. And why we do it is because we care about our health and the health of others. And we know that we're in a very difficult time right now with COVID and the holidays coming up, and that simple thing like wearing the mask can make a real difference. So I promise I won't get political all the time, and actually asking to wear a mask isn't that political. So wear a mask, have a great November, be with family in the ways that you see fit. I'm not going to say what that is for everybody, it's different for everybody. That's it. Hey, happy Friday.
This year, would I send you flowers if my love was insincere? Freaking out and paralyzed, your body takes me. If I was one of the